Hi everybody, I'm here today with Basil Macklai, who's the head of the Middle East for IDNow. Basil, welcome to today's little conversation.
Thank you, Richie. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, you're one of our FinTech Power 50 members, but for our audience tuning in, what is IDNow? What do you guys do specifically?
Good question. IDNow is an ID verification company based out of Munich, Germany.
Yeah.
We were founded in 2014. We launched our first product called Video Ident. It's a agent-assisted verification solution.
Okay.
It was created exclusively for the German market.
Yeah.
A couple of years later, we came up with Auto Ident. Auto Ident is your self-verification. So it's basically you have the ability to identify yourself on your mobile phone. So it's simple as you take out your document, your government-issued document, whether it's a passport or a ID card, scan it, you need your face and a camera, you take a selfie, we do a liveness detection, 30 seconds, you've been identified. Simple as that.
And speaking of being identified, it's just identifying ourselves at a physical show this year, just because of everything happening. So how do you feel about being back at a physical trade show?
It's been a very long time. The last year we were doing all these virtual events, and we didn't feel like we got the same impact. And it's nice to be back in a physical setting and having.
Speaking of physical,
meeting with people, meeting with prospects, meeting with regulators, service providers. So very excited to be in a physical setting.
Yeah, and what's been interesting in terms of IDNow, what you've been up to the past year, and specifically with the Middle East region?
Last year has been quite interesting, actually. We in Europe we acquired 2 companies, so we grew from a 300-person company to over 500 people. We did an acquisition in Germany and then another one in France. So we now can safely say or comfortably say that we control the European market.
Yeah.
Not only did we grow in the number of customers or number of employees, but we also grew in the number of customers. We had about 500 customers, now we're around 800.
Wow.
And our revenues have grown by at least 20%.
Yeah.
So all in all, a great year, even though considering it was,
during
the pandemic.
Yeah.
So we've grown. We've grown significantly. And then now we're in Dubai. So we have offices everywhere in Europe. We have a few in Germany, France, the UK, Eastern Europe. And then now we just set up our first office outside of Europe, in the Middle East, in Dubai, in the DIFC.
Yeah, and congrats on that new role as well, too.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
And can you leave us with one final thought in terms of, just IDNow or the fintech space? Just a final thought.
So final thoughts for ID. People don't understand the importance of ID. They don't realize that it elevates security. So a lot of banks, so I'm going to talk from a banking perspective.
Okay.
Banks nowadays implement what they call a 2-factor authentication. And 2-factor authentication is basically something that you have. So a mobile phone where I can send you an SMS, which you may or may not get, or an email, which may go into the spam folder. And then that's one factor. And the other factor is what you call knowledge-based authentication, is something that you remember. So either a password or your favorite color. Right? And that's not secure. And what ID verification does is add that 3rd level of security, so what we call multi-factor authentication. So we ensure that the person is who they say they are.
Yeah.
So that's how we kind of elevate security and ensure there's no identity fraud. And that's been huge, especially with COVID-19, with everybody being online.
Yeah.
The number of online transactions, as a result of it, there's been huge fraud cases, identity theft cases, and that's where we come in.
Excellent. Well, Basil, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you.
And good luck with the rest of the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.